Do you know what CSS shorthand is? I hope you do, because it can save you a ton of time and a ton of hand coding. Essentially, what CSS shorthand will allow us to do is specify multiple values in a single CSS property. And there's all sorts of them, and we have a few of them for Flexbox that I want to throw at you, again, just to save you a little bit of time as you're building your Flexbox-based layouts. Now, so far, we've seen how to use, or how to set, I should say, the flow direction for our Flexbox layouts, and also how we can control the widths and the wrapping of our child elements. But what I want to show you here is how we can combine both the flow direction, as defined by flex direction, as we know, and also how to combine the wrapping, as defined by flex wrap, all into a single shorthand CSS property, again, for faster coding, faster editing, faster maintaining of your code, and so on, okay? So here's what we'll do. For the parent ID selector, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the flex direction and the flex wrap properties and their values. So I'm just going to select them here and toast them just by hitting the backspace key on my keyboard. So there we go. Now, instead of specifying all that code, those two properties and the two values that go with them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify them flex-flow property, just like this. So I'm going to go flex-flow, :space. Then we're going to specify two values. I'm going to specify row followed by a space. That's the first value. So when you're using flex-flow, the first value is going to be the flex direction. Okay, again, if you're jotting notes, important to know. So I'm going to go row, followed by a space. Then I'm going to specify the flex wrap value, which for myself is going to be wrap. Okay, so the whole shebang looks like this. Flex-flow, :space, row, space, wrap, followed by a semicolon. Okay? Now, when I save up my work and I head back to the browser and I refresh, Control-Command-R, nothing changes. We get exactly the same result, which is actually what we should have gotten because we want the exact same result. We just want to be able to pull it off or achieve it with less code, which is exactly what we've done here, which is great. So again, this single shorthand property now defines the Flex container's main axis, its cross-axis as well, we talked about that earlier, and also the wrapping behavior of the child elements, which is great. Now, if you wanted to, you could try setting up a column-based layout using some shorthand here. So rather than going flex-flow row, maybe what I could do is I could go flex-flow column, something like this. And then I could choose to wrap the items or not wrap the child items. It's up to you. I'll see what result I get here just by going column wrap here. I'll save my work, back to the browser and refresh, and I wind up with something like this. Okay? So again, very flexible here in terms of what we can do. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset FlexFlow back to a row here. I'm just going to go row and then wrap, and that takes us back to where we started, right? But I do want to mention before I close things out here that the default values, the default FlexFlow values, if you will, would be, and if you've been paying attention and taking notes all the way along, you would know this already, and perhaps you're anticipating here, it would be row and then no wrap, if you'll recall. This is the default behavior of Flexbox, to appear, or to have the child items, I should say, appear on a row, and they're going to behave like an accordion, right? That's our default behavior. So, once again, just so you know, there's your defaults. However, I'm going to go back to wrapping myself. So there you go. There's some CSS shorthand for faster Flexbox coding.